Ka Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dura Hamari. 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 Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Namo
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang. Satsang is a Sanskrit word that means literally community of truth. And it refers to whenever a group of people, two or more people on the path of awakening, the path of seeking truth, come together to share their presence, their energies, their challenges, their insights. It's a very important part of the spiritual journey. We might just call it spiritual community. When you begin to awaken, genuinely, it's really important to connect with other people who are also experiencing the journey of awakening, the flowering of the heart transformation. We discover that we have more in common with other people who are awakening than we may have with people in our own faith community or traditional meditation group or church or temple. There are certain parallels. Everybody's path is different. You can't read a book about some awakened master and think that your journey is going to be exactly lockstep like theirs. It's not. But we do discover, as the process unfolds, that we all have similar experiences, similar challenges, and so when we share that, what we're struggling with or the breakthroughs we've had with others, it helps them on their journey, even though their journey may be a very different flight pattern than ours. Anyway, so welcome. The online satsangs we have on Monday are great because we can connect with one another internationally, intercontinentally. There's nothing that can keep people from the other side of the planet from joining us in this satsang tonight. And people do from all over the world. And so not only is this a great way for us to connect with others on the path of awakening, but we create a network, a global network. There's no formal membership. The Flowering Heart community is people from different teachers, teachings, spiritual traditions, and backgrounds who share in common the flowering of the heart and awakening to our true essence, our true nature. So, welcome. We share throughout the webcast something that we call the Flowering Heart Blessing, Hridaya, Vikasa, Diksha. The Flowering Heart Blessing is a gift, a transmission that comes directly from Divine Source. The Divine showed this to me and Suzanne. We've been sharing very powerful transmissions for many, many years. And about 8 years ago, the Divine said, okay, begin to share this with people. And this one does not belong to any spiritual hierarchy or organization or avatar or master or saint. It doesn't come through any of those things. It comes directly from me to whomever I choose to give it to. So it really is completely interfaith, transfaith. And the Divine said, it's my gift to give to people. It's not yours. You don't own it. You don't control it. And you don't charge for it because it's grace. And grace means a gift that is given freely, unearned, undeserved, and given out of unconditional love. The Flowering Heart Blessing is like that. The Divine also said a certain number of people, a lot of people, are going to really like this energy, this presence, and they're going to want to share it as well. And so tell them that as soon as you receive the Flowering Heart Blessing, you are initiated to pass it on. And so you are, if you want to do it right now. You're soaking in it. It catalyzes awakening in the receiver. It removes blocks to awaken. It speeds up the process. Most of all, it causes the flowering of the heart to begin in earnest, where we connect with the Divine Source, not out there somewhere, not infinitely above our heads, but within, at the center of our being, is the very thing we've been looking for. As it turns out, you are the one you've been looking for. Your true essence is the divine itself, dwelling within you at the center of your being. The flowering heart blessing awakens that connection. And if it's already there, that connection's already happening, it causes it to begin to flower and unfold and radiate from the center outward through all the layers of your being in a very powerful way. It's just really quite lovely. If you want to know more about it, you can always ask us, but on our website, floweringheart.org, there's a lot of information about the Flowering Heart Blessing. There's a 36-minute video, initiation video that you could use any way you want to. We encourage people to take that video, set up their laptop or whatever they've got, and just hit play with one other friend or a couple other friends, and 36 minutes later, you've got a little group of initiated blessing givers who are really feeling it. And one of the beautiful things about the Flowering Heart Blessing and other forms of blessing that are being shared today in the world, there are many beautiful ones, but this blessing opens the connection in a way that almost everyone immediately feels the divine presence. I remember when I started my ministry way over 50 years ago in this lifetime, it was really a challenge to take someone that just comes through the door to, sometimes not, sometimes it's like lightning strikes instantly, but it used to take a while to help people open up to really experience the divine presence. And sometimes it was a real challenge. These days, with things like the Flowering Heart Blessing, other forms of Diksha, Shakti, Pod, other things like that, people can be opened to a dynamic experience of the divine presence instantaneously. So it's really important, we feel, to have a local spiritual community where you can join together with others that are sharing similar experiences. And that may not be your church or your temple or your current meditation group. If it isn't, start one. Take the Flowering Heart Blessing video from the website and just share it with somebody and begin to share the blessing with each other. That can be done at a distance by intention, in meditation or in prayer. It can be done by touch with informed consent, because this is going to change somebody. So they need to know what it's about and consent to receiving it. Then you just lightly lay your hands on the top of their head, invite the divine to flow through you with the blessing, and then just get out of the way. We don't control it. We don't structure it. We're just instruments of grace in sharing blessings like this. So feel free to join us right now through the remainder of the satsang tonight. Just invite the divine to pour the blessing through you to everyone who's participating. We have many, many times the number of people that join us live on Monday night go through the satsang between now and next Monday night because of their schedule or where they live, the time zone they're in. And we hold an intent that if you view the video of the satsang later this week or next year or 10 years from now, the presence and the grace will be there just the same as if you were with us live tonight. Because in spirit, and the blessing is spirit, it is not limited in any way by time or space. It's always now, and it's always here. So hold that intention as you join with us in sharing the blessing with all who are participating tonight and all those that will be joining us in the days, weeks, months, in the time ahead. Oh, see, I can just stop right there.
And you don't have to hold your hands up the whole time.
No, you don't. But sometimes it
Set the intent.
feels really cool, too. Anyway, we like to open it at this point to questions and answers on the spiritual journey. They could be about anything. They could be about awakening, God realization, meditation, life after death, life before death, life forever and ever. We're big on life. But let your spirit stir you with something that you might throw out that you'd like to get some clarity or another insight on. And it always moves the divine to inspire us with words to share with you. So it's a valuable part that you play in the satsangs. You're also, we would love to hear from you if you have a great insight to share or you've just had an awakening experience. That's always desirable. If you're with us on Facebook Live, then please, because we're also on LinkedIn and Vimeo and YouTube, but if you're on Facebook Live, either tonight or you drop in on another day for the recording, please give us a thumbs up or a heart, a like or a love or one of those nice little faces. It's so nice that Meta Chen left. But that way we look in later, especially at the end of the satsangs, and I go in the days that follow and see who drops in. And we send you special extra blessings and hugs. It's always nice to know that you are with us. So, just look inside and ask if there's something you might ask that would catalyze some inspiration that you might like, some clarity, some insight. Oh, hi, Nicholas. I don't know how you do that.
I don't either.
I'll figure that out one of these days. That's great. Good to see you. Well, while we wait to see if any great questions, or while we wait, I'm going to read, I like to sometimes read quotes from a website called inspiringquotes.com. Sometimes they're inspirational in and of themselves. This article was put together by Pula Bennett, a writer based in Brooklyn, New York. And we thank you for this. So the little introduction says, most of us get along with the people around us, most of the time. But every so often a conversation or situation can go sideways. An argument blooms or feelings get hurt. Conflict and disagreements are natural parts of connecting with other people. So it's important for us to know how to handle these fraught moments. And a crucial part of working through any clash is to acknowledge the hurt between us and the other person, often through an apology. It can be difficult to apologize when we're feeling wounded or angry. But if we had a part in the breakdown, it's important also to do our part to reach out, even if it feels embarrassing or awkward, or means swallowing our pride. According to a study done in 2020, the presence of an apology makes it much more likely that the relationship can be repaired. Really, apologizing is an expression of affection. We're telling that person that we care more about them than some temporary discomfort. To help set you on the right path, we've collected quotes about the importance of apologies and what constitutes a sincere one. Hopefully they can help you build your relationships to become even stronger. I read that first, to become even stranger. Okay, our first quote. I have learned to accept my responsibility and to forgive myself first, then to apologize to anyone injured by my misreckoning. Maya Angelou. A stiff apology is a second insult. The injured party does not want to be compensated because he's been wronged. He wants to be healed because he's been hurt. G.K. Chesterton, author. A stiff apology, we all know what that means, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, right. An apology offered and equally important received is a step toward reconciliation. And sometimes recompense. Without that process, hurts can rankle and fester and erupt into their own hatreds and wrongdoings. Margaret Macmillan, historian. An apology is the superglue of life. It can repair just about anything. Lynn Johnson, cartoonist. It's more than saying sorry. It's meaning it. It's letting the apology change things. But an apology is where it has to begin. Neil Gaiman, author. I've treated you unkindly. Can't you see? Oh, there's no one more important to me. So, darling, won't you please see me through? Leon Russell, songwriter.
See through me.
Oh, I said see me through. Let me do that again. I've treated you unkindly, can't you see? Ooh, there's no one more important to me. So, darling, won't you please see through me? See through me. Apology is a lovely perfume. It can transform the clumsiest moment into a gracious gift. Sorry doesn't take things back, but it pushes things forward. It bridges the gap. Sorry is a sacrament. It's an offering, a gift. Craig Silvey, writer. I'm sorry. 2 words I always think after you've gone, when I realize I was acting all wrong. Feist, musician. Mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. Bruce Lee. It's always best to ask for forgiveness if you feel that you made a mistake. And again, asking for forgiveness is not just saying the words, I'm sorry. It is also offering what you need to do. Grace Poe, politician. You have anything you want to throw in? Often, there's something, a kindred to apology. Apology is tough to do, and it needs to be sincere, and not just out of guilt, although sometimes that's a good place to start. I hurt you, and I feel guilty about that. I want you to know I'm sorry. That gets the ball rolling.
Okay, I got that on tape.
Sometimes it's hard to forgive, even if an apology's been given. And I say, oh yes, I forgive you, my friend. But I keep remembering it inwardly. And the next time I see you, maybe I want to duck down the other aisle at the grocery store. Or I remember right away when I see you what I had to forgive you for. But I haven't really forgiven you because I'm still carrying it, you see. And the reason we're doing that is because of hurt. And that's the reason we need to apologize, is because we may have caused hurt. But forgiveness is a little bit more tricky, because we can attempt to forgive with the mind, and yet the heart is still carrying the burden of hurt, of pain in that relationship. So real forgiveness happens spontaneously when the hurt is released. And hurt is released not through effort, but through fully experiencing it, not suppressing it or trying to escape it or cover it up, but to truly embrace it and accept it, and then the charge discharges. And so there's still a memory that if we reflect on it may seem painful, unpleasant, but we're not carrying that emotional charge. And then when we look inside, oh my God, I've already forgiven you and I didn't even know I had. So that can be quite helpful. Okay. So, my question is, where are the questions? Well, I could read something else that might help this group. Sometimes I like to share little letters I get being on the mailing list of Matt Kahn. Really beautiful being. And here's one that I just got. Hello, beautiful friend. From as early as I can remember, I've always been afraid of one thing, being too much for people. As I regularly confused other people's experiences of life with their perception of me, I became hypercritical of myself, as if anything I said or did somehow pushed others away or motivated their rejection and abandonment. This caused me to shapeshift in various social settings, hoping to quickly find the perfect combination of interests and attributes that allowed others to approve of me. While I learned how to be, quote, all things to all people, unquote, the fundamental downside of this was realizing I couldn't ever receive the approval offered by others because I wasn't being the most authentic me in my experiences. It's a strange chapter of growth, even as a kid, when realizing you can fool others into validating whichever mask you assume will be most attractive to them, while not being able to let any of it in, which can only occur when daring to be your most authentic self. At such a young age, I knew how to win the prize, but was so far away from knowing how to feel it in a meaningful way. After years of shape-shifting for other people's validation, without knowing why I couldn't feel it, or even when daring to be myself, why I felt invisible to the world, somehow overlooked by life, dismissed by others, and overwhelmed by those I just wanted to be loved by, a rather intriguing insight dropped in. It asked me, what if your greatest fear is also one of your deepest insights waiting to be explored? While I initially scoffed at such seemingly absurd idea, the voice furthered, quote, nothing else seems to work, so why not give it a try? Sure, I thought, it couldn't be any worse than the Groundhog Day I seemed to be destined to live out. So I opened to this awareness. Immediately, as if I was watching images of my life being pieced together in a different order, I was taken through a mini life review and began seeing things differently. I saw how frustrated my parents were when the emotional sensitivities of their empathic child couldn't be resolved through their rescuing. I viewed a replay of the spiritually focused questions a rabbi had not been prepared to answer as he taught Sunday school. I watched as kids turned away in avoidance of the emotions that inspired more curiosity than fear in me. I recalled school teachers telling me to, quote, just be a kid, unquote, while in moments of existential crisis. And then it all came full circle as I suddenly realized I've only been too much for others because this is who I have insisted to be validated by. How would my life change if I realized that I'd never been too much for myself? What if this were true validation, is where true validation is found? While it would take years to process, unpack, and fully digest this insight, it created a bold pattern interrupt from self-abandonment. No longer requiring others to deny me as a way of returning me back to myself. It wasn't a to hell with people, they only disappoint and leave you type of thought. Instead, it was a heartfelt, soul-nourishing realization that I've never been too much for myself. But equally, I hadn't spent enough quality time with myself to know how validating time with me could be. I certainly thought I'd spent enough time with myself, but in truth, the majority of time spent alone involved pining for the approval of others, judging those I felt judged by, conspiring to create newer masks that maximize approval and minimize rejection, and wondering why I felt so invisible to the world around me. It was because I had confused sleeping in the despair of loneliness with getting to know myself as spirit in form. The more I learned to separate my experiences in life from the one experiencing them from within, the more validated I felt in my own presence. Did you catch that? The more I learned to separate my experiences in life from the one experiencing them from within, the more validated I felt in my own presence, which led to being seen and valued by others around me. The difference was I wasn't getting to know myself as a way of stacking the deck of other people's approval more in my favor. I'd simply played out patterning to such an exhaustive degree that there was nothing left to consider but taking a different approach. Whether this matches a fear equally hiding in you or offers a new perspective about life that has felt like more of a struggle than a celebration, your life can and will dramatically shift once you realize you are never too much for yourself. Those are mere imprints of other people's experiences with themselves that were projected onto you or interpreted by the loneliness of perpetual despair. No matter how often you feel like you're too much for others, you are never too much for Source. Since you cannot ever be too much for Source to handle, you are never too much for me. I see you. I know you. I feel you. I am you. I love you. From my empathetic heart to yours. All for love. Matt.
Nice.
I wasn't sure that, I didn't read that first because I wasn't sure it would speak to everyone, but to the ones it speaks to, especially to empaths who don't quite fit the normal mold, that's a great realization.
I think if people were more honest with themselves, nobody really fits a normal mode.
There's no such thing.
Because there's no such thing. So we can all go deeper in accepting and loving ourselves.
Easier said than done.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I tried, for so many years. When I got a glimpse of my higher self, I loved that. But all the other parts of Michael Milner, not so much. I just wanted to be the divine self. And I was so much more than that. And felt like Matt, the need to wear masks to try to make people feel comfortable around me. They felt uncomfortable because of various places I hung out, you know. And it took a long time. And what really was the breakthrough for me was realizing the unconditional love of the divine source for every part of me, for everything, for all of me. Of course, as you deepen, you discover that divine self is you loving you. But in the beginning, it's like, God loves me just as I am. I don't love me just as I am. I'm being, really hypercritical of myself and putting myself through all kinds of austerities, spiritual practices, meditation and spiritual breathing and movements for 8 to 12 hours a day when I was young, in my late teens and early 20s, and for a number of years. Anyway, it took a while, and it was so much simpler than all of that, all of those spiritual austerities, to just open up and receive the unconditional love of Source. The magical thing that begins to happen is it melts away fear and self-loathing. And in its place is unconditional love for self, and it begins to spill over to others, and they begin to see you, because everybody needs that, and they can see it when it's manifesting. Beautiful thing. Well, we have a mindless crew tonight with no questions, which can be very good.
It's
So
time to move on anyway.
we're going to dive into some deeper blessings. So we'd like to invite you now to close your eyes and open your heart and invoke the divine presence deep within your heart of hearts. Rumi, the great Sufi mystic, said, "You are not merely an incarnate drop of the ocean. You are the entire ocean within a drop. The entire universe and beyond. All existence, all being, dwells within you, awaiting your discovery. This divine being, the presence that dwells within you, is the most powerful being in the universe. All powerful, all knowing, all wise, and all loving. And there is no distance, not the slightest bit, between you and the divine source. All that sense of separation, of distance, of I can't find God, where's the light? All of that is the conditioned mind, conditioned by wrong thinking, wrong teaching, religion. When this being, the presence, the source, loves you unconditionally, it's not dependent on any condition of you being holy enough or good enough or honest enough or gentle enough or loving enough, good enough, nothing like that. This divine being loves you completely as you are. Just receive that. Receive the blessing, the grace, the love, the light that divine source yearns to flood you with on every level of your being. Receive it, drink it in. It knows what you want before you even know, before you ever ask. Just receive what the divine is yearning to pour out to you, to pour into you at this very moment. It was never up to you to attain or achieve oneness. When we just let go, that divine source, like the cosmic sun, the strongest gravitational pull in the universe is divine love. And when we just let go, the divine source begins to draw us by the irresistible force of love. We don't do a thing. The divine does it all. Draws us into itself and shines out through every layer of our being, spirit, soul, and body, bringing awakening. Oneness. Complete cleansing of the emotional mind field, a restructuring with divinely inspired thoughts and ideas, flooding your mortal body with healing, with divine health, and your relationships, making them whole. Just allowing. Be made whole. Receive your release. Imagine us sitting together in a circle. With your eyes still closed, lift up your hands with your palms open, facing forward, and invite the presence to pour the flowering heart blessing through you to all the others in the circle of the Satsang. It's coming back to you through all of them as well. Now you can just relax your hands, and when you're ready, open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me as we dive into the light meditation. Just keep looking at least one of our eyes and don't look away. There's nothing for you to do but just keep looking and receive as oceans of grace pour through Suzanne and me to you, through every part of our being, but especially through our eyes. Mystics have called the eyes the doorways of the soul. As you just keep looking, the light streams through our eyes, into your eyes, through your eyes, into your heart, causing the flames of divine love and the light of awakening to burn brighter and brighter and brighter within you. Just receive and keep looking. close your eyes now. Meditate with us for a few more minutes as the grace we've received settles within us. Now keep meditating as long as it feels good to you, and or lie down nearby in Shavasana. Shavasana is a yoga pose where you just simply lie on your back with your eyes closed. Your arms are loosely at your sides, your palms are open, turned upward. And just laying there with your palms open and your eyes closed, dissolve in gratitude in the presence. It's lovely. You could spend the night that way. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until the next time we cross paths, know that the divine in us beholds the divine in you.